managed to tell my mama I loved her over the phone, and even then, I hung up immediately afterwards so I wouldn't have to wait and see whether she said it back. Mama cared for us emotionally, but there was only so much you were willing to share with a devout Muslim mother who you never wanted to disrespect. Unlike my father, she was deeply religious, which meant she often took me and my siblings to the mosque and tried to encourage us to pray 5 times a day. Sure, I sometimes lied and said I'd done it when I hadn't, but I never missed the evening prayer, Aisha. I always felt that so long as I did my evening prayers, I was respecting my mama who, by this point, had managed to get herself an accounting degree along with being a housewife and taking care of us kids. She is a modern-day superwoman. Of all my siblings, it was Noura I was closest to, possibly because we were birds of a feather. Above all, it was because she always let me be myself. I vividly remember running home from the kindergarten bus every day to make sure I caught the intro to the Tasmanian Devil Show with her. I would jump onto her back as she leapt around the living room, dancing like no one was watching. Still, I spent most of my time outdoors. Our neighborhood was a typical suburban area, and there was always someone to play with outside. I would sometimes ride my bike over to the park a few blocks away to play basketball, baseball, or mess around with paintball guns. I had the kind of childhood I thought everyone had, waking up and playing outdoors until the sun went down. I also assumed it would continue that way, right up until I started the first grade at Ardenwood Elementary School and everything changed overnight. Class was over for the day, and I was standing in the schoolyard checking my bag to make sure I had all my books when Nick, not his real name, even after all these years, I don't want to get into a confrontation with him, came over. Like me, he just started first grade, but he had a real thuggish character. You could tell he had older brothers and they had taught him to act much older than he was. There was something about the look in his eyes too. When I met his gaze, I felt a chill inside. "You have to buy me a gift," he said, launching a gob of spit onto the ground between us. "What? Why?" I managed to stutter, though I could hear the uncertainty in my voice. "Because it's my birthday tomorrow." All evening that day, I paced anxiously back and forth on the ground floor of the house, waiting for Baba to get home. I kept checking the window to see if his car had pulled up outside, and when I finally saw him swing onto the driveway, I ran out to meet him. Like always, Baba looked tired, but when he spotted me, I thought I could see a hint of a smile anyway. "Baba," I shouted, "can we go to the toy store?" "Now?" he asked, sounding surprised and running a hand through his thinning hair. I explained that it was a school friend's birthday the next day and that I had to buy him a gift. If I had just been honest and told him the truth, the next few years would probably have been pretty different. But the problem was that I didn't know how to say any of that. All I knew was how easy it was to convince Baba to buy me things. And not long later, we were at Toys R Us across from New Park Mall, which was a 15-minute drive from our place. I remember I bought Nick 5 Tech Deck skateboards, wishing I was buying them for myself. And I also remember just how humiliating it felt to have to give them to him the next day. If I had been hoping it would convince him to leave me in peace, I was wrong. He took it as a sign that he could keep messing with me. From that day on, I became Nick's bitch. I said everything he told me to say and did everything he told me to do, a fact that ultimately led to me being suspended from school for the first time. It all started one lunch break in the 3rd grade. Nick got into a fight with a bunch of 6th graders and made me fight alongside him. More accurately, he made me start the entire fight by throwing the first punch. I was so scared that my vision went blurry as I walked up to the kid Nick had told me to pick a fight with. Firstly, because I was so cautious and shy by nature, and secondly, because I had no idea how to fight. Besides, those kids were 3 years older than me. Somehow I managed to provoke the boy and punch him in the stomach, and next thing I knew, the fight had started. It probably looked more funny than anything. A bunch of kids running around the yard, throwing punches at everyone and everything. Fortunately, a couple of teachers saw us and broke the whole thing up. I ended up suspended for 1 week, Nick for 2, but it made no difference in the long run because as soon as he came back, he kept on messing with me. The truth is, I was his errand boy right up to the 7th grade when he transferred to another school. Thank goodness. I'm a true believer in karma. You get what you give, whether it's bad or good. Sandra Bullock. Miss Congeniality. Mama walks in on me jacking off, and I begin a sexual relationship with a family friend.